Oh, I've been looking forward to this video, guys. We are here today to rank some championship kits, and I can't wait to jump into this one. So today we are going to be going through all of the championship home kits which have been released so far. As of recording, the vast majority of championship clubs have put out their home kit. Right now we're only missing 3 from the collection. So Reading, Sheffield United and Luton won't be included in today's video for that reason, but they will be included in a future video. I want to know from you guys in the comments down below what for you is the best and worst home kit from a championship club that has been released this season. As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. 250 likes will be appreciated. But without any further ado, let's get into the kits. Kicking things off with Birmingham's home kit for the season, and you know what, I think we're starting out pretty strong for today's video. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Knight coming in with a decent entry off the bat for this one. I quite like what they've done with this one, with the different shades of blue going across this kit. It is a shame about the betting sponsor, but those tend to be going down in the championship in terms of how many betting companies are still sponsoring shirts and things like that. But the white trim on the blue looks quite nice. Quite a unique selling point with the pattern going across this one as well. Overall, 7 out of 10, fairly fresh looking kit for me. We're being dragged back down to reality with this next kit from Blackburn Rovers though, and I just can't get on board for this one. I don't mind the alternating sleeves in terms of one being white, one being blue, and that obviously being a mix of the split in the middle between the colours, but the sponsor for this one totally wrecks it, and I'm also not a massive fan of the design around the neck either with that pattern. But I mean, what is that? A little devil on there? A sponsor can make or break a shirt, and in this case, I think it's breaking it. 3 out of 10 for me. Next then to Blackpool's home kit for the season, and do you know what? In terms of how Blackpool kits go and how I generally disregard them, this one isn't actually all too bad. I definitely prefer this to what they were rocking last season, which I really wasn't all too on board with. But this entry coming in from Puma, I quite like the black trimmings around the neck and sleeves as well, and then the checkered sort of multicoloured tangerine pattern that they've got going on for this one makes it a little bit quirky. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. In terms of Blackpool kit, I don't actually hate that one. That's a solid entry from Puma. Bristol City have had so many hits in terms of their kits over recent years, and we'll get into away kits in a future video, but in terms of the home kit, I don't think I'm particularly rocking with this one, if I'm being honest. I do like a collar on a football shirt, but I'm not sure about the way this one's functioned, and to me personally, it just screams Rotherham, doesn't it? I can't get Rotherham out of my head when I look at that Bristol City kit. I think it's their completely block white sleeves that do it for me in that aspect. I mean, it's a little bit of a quirky sponsor in there, but overall rating for me, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm not really digging that one as much as I have been in previous years, but it's not a total disaster. I actually hate that I love this one so much because it is a Burnley kit, but this is, for me, just an absolute banger here from Burnley and Umbro coming in with this one. I always seem to be a little bit of a sucker for an Umbro shirt. I wish for the life of me that Preston would move to Umbro, but this one right here from Burnley I think is quite quirky. The classic football shirt sponsor makes this one a bit of an iconic one as well for that aspect. They were never going to sponsor a football shirt that wasn't a banger, and for me personally, I think this one's ticking all the right boxes, which I hate to say as a Preston fan, but I'm giving it as much as a 9 out of 10. The sponsor especially, I think, brings this one all together. I like the pattern, the quirkiness of it. Umbro do it again for me. Next then we head to Cardiff, which is made by New Balance. I've had some real gripes with Cardiff home kits over previous years, which I've really not been on board with, but this one is starting to win me round. I've given it a 6 in the end, but I could be pushed as far as a 7 perhaps. I do like some of the detailings on this shirt, which won't be immediately clear perhaps in the picture that I've used here, but when you do get up close and personal with it, there are some nice touches to this one. The bluebirds that go across, which is a nice pattern which continues all throughout the shirt. Still think that the sponsor looks a little bit basic. It's been one of my gripes with Cardiff shirts over recent years, but with that nice touch of the bluebirds mixed in with what is quite a simple and clean looking kit, 6 out of 10, but I could be pushed to maybe a 7 for that one. Next up then to Coventry. They had a banger of a home kit from last season, but I'm not sure I'm quite feeling it this time around. Now this is going to be a bit of a Marmite kit, I feel. It's a bit of a retro throwback in terms of the actual design pattern, and I do rate it for the uniqueness of this one, and I want to get on board and like this kit, but as things stand right now, I'm just not sure I do, to be honest, and I can't lie to myself. The bars going across either side, the badge which is stuck in the middle, and the Boyle Sports sponsor. Altogether, I just don't think this one's for me, but it might be a kit which grows on me throughout the season and looks a little bit better in person. But I've seen some people on social media absolutely swearing by this kit and saying they absolutely love it, but for me, I don't think it's the one this season. I might get battered in the comments down below for this one, but Huddersfield, I'm not feeling this year, and this is an entry coming in from Umbro, who are usually so consistent with delivering for me, and I have seen a load of Huddersfield fans who absolutely love this kit, but personal preference for me, I'm not sure about it this year. Huddersfield's home kit last season was one of my personal favourites, and I think with Huddersfield kits and stripy kits in general, my personal preference is always the bigger and bolder stripes opposed to the thinner ones here and the touch of red, which I'm not sure completely ties this one together. Looks very Brighton when I look at that, but I do accept that obviously those kits will fade into similarities. But yeah, 4 out of 10 for me. Sorry Huddersfield, I'm not vibing with that one. Hull have had some tremendously wacky kits over the years, which to be honest I've been on board with quite a few, to be honest. They've had the tiger print one, last year's was quite quirky, so this season they've gone a little bit more back to basics. Umbro delivering this one as well, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's a solid entry, but by no means my favourite Hull shirt from years gone by, where they have really pushed the ball out in terms of being a little bit more quirky. Middlesbrough's home kit for this season, do you know what, I actually think this might be my least favourite kit of the season for a few reasons really. First of all, it's almost an identical copy from last season. In fact, they made it a lot worse from last season, because last season had the nice detailings on their kit of the bridge, the break in the middle worked quite well because of that one, but this one just seems so basic. I don't really like the design of the collar. The white block seems a bit high up, and the sponsor in the middle of that I think looks really tacky. Without that sponsor, maybe this one would actually look a little bit more classical, a little bit more retro, and I could get on board with it a little bit. But all things considered, I think that might be my least favourite kit that's come out so far. Thankfully though, Hummel are bringing the levels right back up with Millwall's home kit for the season. Love the detailings of this one with the lion in the background, the classic Husky chocolate sponsor being proudly on there as well. And in terms of how Millwall kits go, I think this might be one of my favourite home kits that they've released in quite some time actually. Overall thoughts on this one, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, but do you know what, maybe even I could be pushed a little bit further than that. I'll wait to see how it looks in person, but right now 8 out of 10, big fan of that Millwall kit. Norwich have been incredibly hit and miss on their home kits over recent years, but they have absolutely smashed it out the park for me this year with this entry which is coming in. Everything about this kit I absolutely love, and for me, I mean, yellow and green aren't exactly my favourite colours, so it would be quite easy to make a kit like this look quite ugly, but this doesn't do that whatsoever. It looks classy, they've kept it simple, but it's got enough detailings for me to push it all the way up to a 9 out of 10 and to be one of my favourite kits that have been released this year. The pinstripes look absolutely brilliant, and the sponsor fits into this one so well. The fact they get a letter in between every single pinstripe, this one is chef's kiss perfection. Next up then, we got Preston North End's kit coming in from the season. Knight coming in with yet again another template top. In terms of how templates go, I actually don't hate this North End top this season. It is incredibly simplistic and some could say boring, but I'd say it's quite tidy actually. It keeps things simple. Very similar to a kit we had a few years ago, but I think this sponsor blends in with this one a little bit nicer actually, with the blue coming on to the white to give this one a little bit more flavour. And overall, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's inoffensive, albeit not that creative. QPR's kit for the upcoming season, I'm on board with this one if I'm being honest. I'm going to push this one to a 7 out of 10. Not my favourite that's come out this year, but certainly in my top half of home kits that have come out. I think the sponsor looks fairly good in this one actually, how it's contained within that white hoop that's going on. A few nice detailings. I like the blue line that runs throughout the shoulders for this one. I think that looks nicer than just cutting it off and having it all as a little bit of a white block in there. And then the blue trimmings around the neck and sleeves as well. Yeah, 7 out of 10 overall, solid home kit. Next then for Rotherham, and I actually quite like what Puma have done with this kit. It's a nod to the New York Stadium, with it being a decade since they moved in there. So displayed on the kit, there are some nice detailings of pictures of the actual stadium within the kit. My only sort of semi-gripe with this one, and it may just be the pictures that I've seen of the kit, is when the players are actually wearing it, it doesn't seem immediately noticeable that those pictures are there. So I do wish that they were a little bit more defined perhaps, but maybe that's just some of the other pictures that I've seen, because the picture that I've got on screen here, I actually think that's a pretty smart looking kit. 7 out of 10 for me. For Stoke City fans, over the past few years, kit release day must have just been Groundhog Day. Stoke seem to come out with the same exact kit year upon year, but this season they have actually switched it up, and just for that I'm going to give this effort a 7 out of 10. I rate they've tried to do something a little bit different. At the end of the day, there probably is only so much you can actually do with red and white stripes, but the effect they've got on it this year makes it a little bit quirky and gives it that bit more of a unique selling point compared to their previous kits. Swansea have gone for a retro design this season for their kits, and I'm sure that some people are going to absolutely love this one, but for me personally, I think it's one of the weakest entries coming in this season, and I've gone as low as a 3 out of 10 for this one. The old school collar, I'm really not a massive fan of, but I get why they've done it, because they wanted that sort of retro feel to this one. But everything considered together, I think this is one of the worst Swansea home kits we've had for quite some time now, which is a shame because I like the new badge. I like almost everything about it. It's a really solid effort. I just can't get on board with that sponsor. Stake.com looks a little bit tacky, and for that reason brings this kit down a couple of ratings for me personally. I like the design pattern, the zigzags that it's got going on throughout this kit. I like the alternating red on one sleeve, black on the other. I think that looks quite nice with the red and black around the neck as well, but that massive Stake.com printed against the front brings it down to a 6 for me. West Brom though are bringing the levels right back up as we come towards the penultimate kit for today's video, because this one is getting a 9 out of 10 for me. This is up there in terms of my top 3 home championship kits for this season. I love the classic feel to this one. We've seen a few other championship clubs trying to go down that classic sort of retro-y vibe and have failed miserably, but West Brom have absolutely smashed it out the park with this one. Love the old school badge on this one, love the thick stripes. There's a little bit of a fuzzy detailing on the outline of those stripes as well, and the sponsor isn't all too in your face with this one either. Yeah, I think that's a really clean looking classy kit. 9 out of 10 for me, massive fan of that one. Finishing it off with Wigan Athletics kit for the season. First of all, I rate the fact they've got a charity sponsor for this one. Always a nice touch for kits like this, and I've got to be honest, I've been massively conflicted on this kit, probably more so than any other kit releases from a championship club this season. When I initially saw it, and judging off the picture that I've used right there, I wasn't massively digging this one, to be honest, and I think I was tempted to go as low as a 5 out of 10 or something like that. But I then saw another picture of the Wigan players actually wearing this one in pre-season, and I thought it looked a hell of a lot better. Maybe it was just a dodgy picture that I saw first time round, but on the players, I actually think this one's a really clean looking kit with some nice details, and it's got quite a few unique selling points as well, which always bumps the kit up in my estimations. So yeah, I am still somewhat conflicted on this one, but I'm sure having seen it in person as well, I'll have more of a concrete view on it. But right now, 7 out of 10, I do quite like that one actually. But guys, there we have it. That will wrap it up for today's video and for today's kit ranking episode. In terms of the worst championship kits this season, I'd have to go Middlesbrough and Swansea, probably my least favourite 2 that have come out. And in terms of my favourites, my top 3 would be Burnley, Norwich and West Brom. I think those 3 are clear actually in terms of my favourites. Millwall up there as well probably. But guys, that will wrap it up for today's video. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Do get your thoughts on the kits down below, and leave a like if you'd like to see an away kit ranking video as well. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you all in the next one.